I don't understand how you say you love your country at the same time as you normalize this convicted felon, which I can say now every day.
If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television.
Sunny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out.
Carrie Underwood is making you look like a bunch of sissies.
Welcome back to AllStarBuzz. Thank you for joining us. Before we start, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are on our way to 10,000 subscribers. Now, let's begin.
It is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true.
They get so much hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean,
yeah.
it is a rabies infested.
It started with a performance, but it quickly turned into a legal storm no one saw coming. Country music superstar Carrie Underwood is now at the center of a jaw-dropping $50 million defamation lawsuit, and the target? None other than The View. Yes, on the daytime talk show known for its heated discussions and even hotter takes, has found itself in boiling water after co-host Sunny Hostin publicly slammed Carrie's choice to perform at Donald Trump's inauguration. Now, Carrie Underwood isn't known for stirring up political drama. She's built her career on powerhouse vocals and an image of grace, keeping her personal beliefs far from the headlines. So, when she announced that she would be singing at the inauguration, it sent shockwaves through both her fan base and the entertainment world. But it wasn't just the fans reacting. Sunny Hostin didn't hold back. On national television, she tore into Carrie's decision with such intensity that it crossed a line for many viewers. And for Carrie, it crossed a legal one too. That's when the lawsuit hit. A full-blown legal action claiming defamation, reputational damage, and seeking damages to the tune of $50 million. This isn't just a celebrity spat, it's a cultural flashpoint. A moment where entertainment, politics, and personal values collided on live TV, and Carrie Underwood decided she wasn't going to just sit back and take it. Instead, she lawyered up and made a statement far louder than any tweet or Instagram post. If you attack someone's character on a national platform, expect consequences. And just when you thought that was the peak of the story, it gets even wilder. Just when the flames were starting to rise, someone threw gasoline straight into the fire, and that someone was Joe Rogan. Known for his blunt takes and unapologetic delivery, Rogan didn't tiptoe into this situation. He charged in full speed, unleashing a scathing takedown of Sunny Hostin and The View that quickly went viral. Rogan didn't dance around his opinion. He flat out said it. The View is a sensationalist circus, and its hosts among the dumbest people on television. And yes, he singled out Sunny by name. This wasn't just another podcast rant. Rogan's comments lit up social media, with clips being shared, reposted, and dissected by millions. His words struck a chord, especially with those who've grown tired of what they see as media, hypocrisy, and celebrity double standards. While some critics of Carrie Underwood were celebrating The View's harsh critique, Rogan flipped the script. He called out the show for its own bias, its manufactured outrage, and its tendency to gang up on guests or topics that don't align with its agenda. People were paying attention. Rogan's audience is massive, and his influence can't be overstated. His takedown wasn't just a jab, it was a cultural mirror, reflecting a growing frustration with the way talk shows like The View handle dissenting opinions. Sunny Hostin may have thought she was making a bold statement, but Rogan made it clear if you're going to criticize someone's patriotism or integrity on live television, don't expect to walk away without being held accountable. What started as a heated segment on a daytime talk show had now morphed into a nationwide conversation about free speech, media responsibility, and the price of playing politics in the public eye. And that was only the beginning. As Rogan's takedown gained momentum, the entire controversy exploded across social media, transforming from a celebrity news story into a full-blown cultural battlefield. Hashtags were trending, Twitter threads were endless, and every fans, critics, influencers, even fellow celebrities had something to say. What was originally a performance announcement by Carrie Underwood had now spiraled into something much larger. The internet didn't just react, it erupted. People weren't simply debating Carrie's performance, they were choosing sides in a clash of values. Was this about politics, patriotism, or personal freedom? The lines got blurry, fast. Supporters of The View claimed that criticizing Carrie's decision was fair game. After all, she chose to step into a politically charged moment by performing at Trump's inauguration. But critics of the show, empowered by voices like Rogan's, argued that Sunny Hostin's remarks weren't just critiques, they were character attacks dressed up as commentary. And that's where the outrage intensified. The conversation quickly outgrew Carrie and The View. It became about how we, as a society, handle differing beliefs, especially when they don't align with the dominant narrative in mainstream media. Comment sections became war zones. Viral posts dissected every frame of the original episode. Memes mocked the hosts, while others defended them. Everyone was watching, commenting, and reacting in real time. Carrie Underwood, meanwhile, didn't flinch. As the digital chaos unfolded, she stayed silent, letting the noise swirl around her. But that silence spoke volumes and only added more fuel to the already raging fire. And just when things seemed to be reaching a boiling point, people began asking a question that no one had dared say out loud yet. What if this wasn't really about politics at all? Because here's the twist: this story was never just about politics. It became a reflection of something deeper, how we judge people for stepping outside the lines we've drawn for them. Carrie Underwood, known for her graceful image and staying far away from political drama, suddenly found herself cast as a controversial figure. And why? For doing what artists have done for decades: performing. Carrie didn't get up on stage to make a political speech. She didn't wear a campaign button or endorse any policy. Her message was clear from the beginning. She was there to spread unity, to share music with all Americans, not just one side of the aisle. On paper, that sounds harmless, admirable. But in today's climate, neutrality is seen as a statement, and inaction is treated as alignment. That's the world Carrie walked into. Fans were split. Some accused her of betrayal, claiming that her presence at Trump's inauguration sent a message, whether she intended it or not. Others, however, stood by her, respecting her choice and her reasoning. She wasn't waving a flag for either party. She was holding a mic, trying to keep things about the music. But the backlash didn't care. Social media doesn't do nuance. The more Carrie tried to rise above the noise, the louder it got. Instead of shrinking back, she held her ground, refusing to apologize for a choice she believed in. That kind of resolve, it's rare. This wasn't just about a performance. It was about what we expect from public figures, how we respond when they don't behave the way we want, and whether we allow room for people to step outside of their assigned boxes. And in Carrie's case, staying true to herself made her even more of a lightning rod. As the backlash intensified, The View couldn't resist jumping into the firestorm, and that's when things took a dramatic turn. During a heated segment, the host dissected Carrie's decision, and Joy Behar didn't hold anything back. She questioned whether Carrie's message of unity was genuine or just a convenient excuse to align with a political figure. Her tone wasn't curious, it was accusatory. Instead of exploring Carrie's intentions, Joy implied there had to be an ulterior motive. And just like that, what could have been a respectful disagreement turned into open hostility on daytime television. The discussion unraveled fast. Each host took a side. What began as commentary about a performance exploded into a panel-wide debate, filled with sharp jabs, raised voices, and unmistakable judgment. The segment quickly went viral. Clips of the argument flooded timelines. Commentators dissected every sentence. Some viewers supported Joy's challenge, saying celebrities shouldn't be shielded from political accountability. But just as many saw it differently, they felt that The View had crossed the line, turning into an echo chamber more interested in moral outrage than meaningful dialogue. Carrie, on the other hand, stayed silent. No interviews, no public statements, no social media spats. Her refusal to engage in the drama made her stand out even more. In the middle of the storm, she was the only one who didn't throw a punch. And yet, that silence didn't cool things down, it poured gasoline on the debate. Because now, instead of talking with her, people were talking about her. And the question lingered in the air. Had The View opened an honest conversation, or had they just used a celebrity as cannon fodder for ratings? While the co-hosts of The View clashed on air and the internet burned with debate, Carrie Underwood remained poised calm in the middle of chaos. She didn't fight back with words. No Instagram statements, no fiery tweets, no late-night interviews. Instead, she let her actions and her silence speak volumes. And surprisingly, that choice didn't weaken her position, it strengthened it. Across social media, people began pointing to her as an example of how to handle criticism with dignity. Supporters praised her grace under pressure, calling her a rare figure in today's outrage-driven culture. For many, she wasn't just a performer, anymore she became a symbol of staying true to your values without getting dragged into the mud. But not everyone was convinced. Critics kept digging, questioning her motives, dissecting every detail of her past, looking for proof that this was something more than just a neutral performance. For them, silence didn't equal strength, that meant guilt, complicity, or avoidance. The scrutiny didn't stop, but Carrie didn't budge. And the contrast between her calm and The View's chaos became its own storyline. This only deepened the divide. On one side, fans saw Carrie as a role model, someone who chose integrity over spectacle. On the other, skeptics saw her as a symbol of how fame could mask political alignment. But no matter what side you were on, one thing was clear. Carrie Underwood was no longer just a music icon caught in controversy. She had become the eye of a cultural storm, and her refusal to play by the media's rules kept everyone talking. And that silence? It did more damage to her critics than 1,000 angry words ever could. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, country star John Rich stepped into the spotlight, and he wasn't holding back. Taking to Twitter, John made it clear where he stood. He called Carrie Underwood a true artist who exemplifies grace and class, even while facing relentless hate. His message wasn't just to defense it, was a full-throated endorsement of Carrie's strength, character, and right to make her own decisions without being vilified for them. And he wasn't alone. Within hours, his tweet sparked a wave of support from fans and fellow artists across the political spectrum. People who didn't even agree with Carrie's decision still stood by her right to make it. That simple idea, respecting someone's freedom to choose, even if you disagree, suddenly became the rallying cry of the moment. One fan summed it up best: "I don't agree with her politics, but I respect her decision to sing at the inauguration. Music should unite, not divide." That sentiment echoed across every platform. People were tired of celebrities being forced into political corners. They wanted art to be about connection, not conflict. And they saw Carrie as someone trying to keep it that way. The tide was shifting. What started as a pile-on was now turning into a broader conversation known that wasn't just about Carrie or even The View, but about whether we're still allowed to disagree without destroying each other. John Rich's public stand had cracked open the door for a much bigger idea to come through. Maybe, just maybe, we've gone too far in turning every public decision into a political litmus test. And now, the debate wasn't just about Carrie's performance. It was about whether we still know how to respect someone who walks a different path. As more voices joined the conversation, it became clear this wasn't just a story about Carrie Underwood singing at an inauguration. It had evolved into a snapshot of something much bigger: the growing cultural divide that's seeping into every corner of our lives, even places that used to feel safe from politics, like music. Music used to be the common ground, a place where people from different walks of life could come together, sing the same lyrics, and feel a little more connected. But now, even a single performance can trigger outrage, headlines, and lawsuits. Carrie Underwood wasn't shouting a political messages, he was holding a microphone. And yet, that act alone was enough to split her fan base and spark national debate. This whole controversy forced people to ask some uncomfortable questions. Can we still separate an artist's personal beliefs from their work? Do we judge them by their art or by the assumptions we attach to their actions? And when does criticism stop being fair and start becoming personal? Because at some point, the backlash against Carrie went far beyond disappointment or disagreement. It morphed into a campaign of outrage, filled with personal attacks and accusations. And that's where the conversation took a darker turn, where valid critique became bullying dressed up as commentary. This wasn't just about one artist or one show, it was about the state of the conversation itself. And it begged the question, if even Musicone of the last remaining cultural safe zones isn't safe from the political battlefield, then what is? What do we lose when we stop giving people the space to simply perform without demanding they take a side? At the heart of all this chaos stood the View Show, with a massive platform and the power to shape public opinion. But with that power comes responsibility, and now people were starting to ask whether The View had crossed a line. Sure, talk shows thrive on heated debates. That's their bread and butter. But when Joy Behar and Sunny Hostin started questioning Carrie Underwood's patriotism and motives, it felt less like a discussion and more like an attack. It wasn't just what they said, it was how they said it. The tone, the dismissiveness, the certainty. It pushed the conversation from critique into something personal, and the public noticed. Now, people weren't just debating Carrie's performance, they were debating The View itself. Should a show with millions of viewers be allowed to make sweeping, judgmental statements about a public figure without facing consequences? Where's the line between honest opinion and character assassination? Critics of the show called it out for fanning the flames of division rather than fostering meaningful dialogue. They accused it of being part of a larger media problem where outrage sells and nuance is the first casualty. Supporters of Carrie started demanding accountability, not just from The View, but from media outlets in general that use controversy as a weapon rather than a tool for understanding. And for those who weren't on either side, this moment forced a deeper reflection. Are we okay with media personalities using their platforms to tear people down based on a single choice? Or do we need to start holding these voices to the same standards we expect from everyone else? Because if The View can spark a cultural war over a performance, maybe the real problem isn't the artist on stage, it's the ones behind the desk. As the fallout continued, the internet turned into a frenzy of reaction, memes, and viral moments. TikToks mocked the chaos, tweets dissected every frame of The View's segment, and viral videos compared Carrie Underwood's calm grace to Joy Behar's fiery on-air tirade. One meme in particular summed it up perfectly: Grace under fire versus unfiltered rage. It wasn't just funny, it was a reflection of the wider divide. On one side were those who saw Carrie's actions as admirable. To them, she embodied composure, strength, and conviction. She made a decision, stood by it, and never stooped to the level of her critics. In a world addicted to drama, she refused to give it oxygen. Her supporters rallied hard, not just defending her, but holding her up as a rare example of how to handle pressure with class. On the other side were those who saw her decision as a quiet political endorsement, intentional or not. They believed that public figures don't get to stay neutral anymore, not when their choices have ripple effects. And in their eyes, Carrie's silence wasn't noble, it was strategic, maybe even cowardly. But then there was a third group, a growing number of people who weren't picking a side. They were just exhausted, tired of every celebrity action being turned into a battlefield. Tired of cancel culture, moral grandstanding, and never-ending online wars. For them, the loudest question wasn't, was Carrie right or wrong? It was, why does everything have to be a war zone? One viral tweet captured the feeling perfectly. At the end of the day, it's just music. Why do we keep turning everything into a war? And that tweet didn't just get likes, it got shared by people across the spectrum. Because no matter where you stood, the chaos had reached a point where the outrage was no longer just about Carrie. It was about all of us. And that brings us to the real heart of the story. Carrie Underwood's decision to perform at Donald Trump's inauguration may have sparked a firestorm, but it revealed something far more powerful than just another celebrity controversy. It showed us the cost of standing firm in your beliefs when the world demands you choose a side. Carrie could have backed down. She could have apologized, issued a carefully worded statement, tried to smooth things over. But she didn't. She stood her ground. She kept her focus. And in doing so, she reminded everyone watching that conviction doesn't always come with a speech. It can come in silence, in poise, in refusing to cave under pressure. Whether you agree with her politics or not, that kind of courage is rare. And as for The View, this entire moment forced a spotlight on them too. The show may claim to represent diverse voices and bold opinions, but now people are asking, are they promoting dialogue or just using outrage as entertainment? Have they crossed the line from discussion into personal attack? And if so, what does that say about the current state of media? Because at some point, we all have to ask, what kind of culture are we creating, where a performance becomes a political landmine, and where disagreement leads to character destruction? This story isn't just about Carrie Underwood. It's not just about The View. It's about where we are as a society and where we're headed. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Also, drop your thoughts in the comments. See you on the next one.